Hi ladies, good morning. How are you doing today? So it's Friday and I know in Canada everybody's getting ready for the long weekend, but I feel like I haven't really checked in so much lately with Facebook Lives, so I didn't want to take off without doing so. And it is my intention to do this weekly at the same time. So watch out for more of these to come your way, because I do want to answer all your questions, address your concerns, and always just provide you with continuous information to really keep you motivated, to keep you informed, and to always let you know what is best to do. All right, especially when it comes to weight loss, because that's what we're here for. So what I am addressing today specifically is I am going through the frustrations, the weight loss frustrations that you shared with me when you requested to join this group. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the most recent frustrations that were expressed. I will state the first name of the person that wrote this, just so that you know that I am specifically addressing your frustration, and I hope that that is okay. I want to let you know that this is a closed group, so anything that is posted in here really stays in the group, and only the people in the group can see it. And you are in a safe place. There is no judgment. There is no criticism. You know, we're here because we either are all in the same boat or we have been where you are. Okay. Even myself, trust me, we all have our separate or different frustrations, and we all feel like this is a problem that is very specific to us. And it is, because we all experience frustration in a different way. But the good news is that there's always kind of the same approach to addressing these frustrations and to overcoming them. Okay. And as I mentioned myself, I've had so many frustrations when it came to maintaining my weight. Also, my big obstacle was carb cravings. I was a really big sugar addict. I didn't even realize it, but well, I guess I did, because I knew that I couldn't stop eating carbohydrates. I couldn't stop eating sweets, and my nemesis were gummy bears. Okay, that's how it all started for me. And I felt like I was never going to get out of that situation, because I had absolutely no control over what my body was asking for. And I literally could not proceed with my tasks in the day without having some of the sweets that my body was craving. Okay, and it wasn't just, I say some of the sweets that my body was craving, when in reality it was like everything that was in my cupboards would just disappear in one sitting. Okay, so this was me quite a few years back, and I had no one to turn to. Okay, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have all this information available. It was really just me, and I felt that this was a problem that was very unique to myself, and I felt completely lost. I felt helpless, and I honestly, I felt like I was really weak, because I couldn't believe that something like food was controlling me. Okay, and I consider myself to be a smart person. I am educated, but for some reason I could not win the fight against sugar. I could not win the fight against carbohydrates. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, because we all feel alone, and we all feel like we can't share this because we are in some way maybe ashamed of our frustrations, or ashamed of the things that we are doing, because we deep down inside we know better, or we know that we could be doing better. And that's okay. You are not alone, and that's why I created this group, so that we can share this, so that we can talk about it, and so that I can give you some tips as well as to how to overcome it, because it's not about you, it's not about willpower. It really is. It's physiological. It's about the food that you're eating, and by controlling your blood sugar and controlling or rebalancing your hormones, it can all be fixed again. Okay, so all that, I'm now gonna go look at the list, and I'm gonna address your frustrations that you wrote in your own words. to see if I can help you out. And if you have any further questions about it, if you want a little bit more detail about it, just comment below, start a new thread, and I'm happy to help you out with that a little bit more, to give you some more information or give you more clarity on that subject. Okay, so first one, Shawnee, you said your frustration was you've been staying the same weight for years, right? So I don't know from that if you have tried diets or, if you have changed your diet in order to change your weight as well. The thing that comes to mind for me is that the problem is that what we are taught about weight loss is just plain and simple wrong, okay? We are taught that we need to reduce our calories. We are taught that we need to eat low fat, and we are taught that we need to exercise to burn off everything that we have eaten. And we are taught that we need to eat salads all the time, right? That's, I think, some other one's frustration there. And that it's not right. We need to eat food. We need to feel full and satisfied so that we don't relapse. And if your body doesn't get enough calories throughout the day, that's when cravings come in, okay? And that's when cravings come in, that's when we completely lose control of the situation, because we just go for what is there, and usually that's the simple carbs that come in the shape of cookies, muffins, donuts, or even bread or chips, okay? Everybody has their favorite. As I mentioned, mine were gummy bears, okay? So that was always my go-to, and then there was the cookies, and then there was the ice cream, and there was like all this other stuff. So yeah, the reason why a lot of women stay the same weight, or they lose a few pounds and then they gain them back and a little bit more, is because we're going about it all wrong. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to control our blood sugar, and we need to help through that, we help to rebalance our hormones. And the best way that I have found that the best way of doing it is by eating a high fat, low carb diet. Okay, and a high fat, low carb diet, the way that looks is that you consume 60% of your calories come from fats, 20% of your calories come from protein, and 20% of your calories come from carbohydrates. And the number one priority is not counting your calories, okay? The number one priority is really reducing your carbohydrates and consuming more fats, because fat does not affect our blood sugar at all. And the other great thing about fat is that it takes a really long time for it to digest. So we don't get that hungry feeling so quickly, okay? That's what my clients are telling me now that are completing my Smarter Fat Loss program right now, is that they're so happy that they can finally increase the fats in their diet. They're really enjoying it because it is a very comforting food. It's very filling, and it is really, really great and essential for us, okay? 30% of our brain's dry mass is fat. Right? How are we going to eat a no-fat diet or a low-fat diet if the thing that keeps us alive and thinking is made out of fat? Okay? So yeah, the frustration about staying the same weight for years is because probably the way that you have been taught, or what you have been taught about weight loss, is just, it's all wrong, it's outdated, and that's not your fault. It's just that that's what people have been talking about for years and years and years, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, is because I can't take it anymore. Like, women are starving themselves, women are like exercising themselves crazy, and that's not the way to go about it. And we all know it because we all see that the results don't last, okay? So moving on to Alice, biggest weight loss frustration is hunger, okay? And then you see, so it is a different frustration, but again, the way to address this, the way to address hunger, is because probably you've been keeping your portion sizes too small, and you've probably been eating low-fat food, and you've probably been eating a lot of carbohydrates, even if it is in the shape of vegetables. So vegetables are a carbohydrate, okay? because they're not a fat and they're not a protein. So they are a carbohydrate. They're a good carbohydrate, but they are a carb. And the thing with all carbohydrates is that they are fast burning, okay? Fast burning, what that means is that once you consume a carbohydrate, it actually can take like 15 to 20 or 30 minutes for it to digest and leave your stomach. And then you get hungry again, right? So again, by eating this low calorie, like rich in carbohydrate, low in fat food, sure, you're thinking, ooh, it's healthy, it's great. If it's healthy, it has to be good for weight loss. It's not, okay? It's not, because maybe in that moment you're consuming a healthy food, but it is not contributing to your goal of losing weight, because within 20 minutes or maybe within an hour, if you probably added a little bit of dressing or a little bit of protein, you are going to get hungry again. Okay? So the way, again, sorry, the way that I addressed the previous problem is we need to consume more fats in order to actually feel satisfied. Okay, and because fats take up to, oh my God, they can take up to 5 or 6 hours. Well, maybe that's kind of pushing it. 4 to 5 hours to digest, to leave your stomach. Okay, so that, of course, if you eat 60% of your carbs, if they come from fats, imagine how satisfied you will be feeling after eating a meal. And we also want to eat bigger meals that actually satisfy us, that keep us full, so that we don't spend the rest of the day pecking. Okay, you want to eat a meal that makes you feel like you've eaten something. It's gonna make you happy, it's gonna make you full, it's gonna nourish you, and then you just go about the rest of the day not having to think about food all the time. Because if you eat a small salad for lunch with a light dressing on it, of course you're gonna be hungry the rest of the day. Of course you're gonna have cravings, because our body can't function on that, okay? We need calories. Calories are essential for us, okay? So we have to stop looking at food as our enemy, or as this thing that's just gonna like convert into fat in our body. Food, if eaten the right way, you can eat large amounts for it. You just have to learn to eat the right proportions of the macronutrients, okay? And again, that's the high fat, low carb, and low carb is because we are a sedentary culture, and carbohydrates just give us way too much energy. They affect our blood sugar too much and get our hormones all out of whack. And then if our blood sugar rises at the same time and we eat too many carbohydrates, we're sitting at our desk, that energy is not going to be used. So what happens is that in order to lower the blood sugar, insulin comes, takes all the glucose out of your blood, and just stores it as fat for later use, okay? And because we're not active enough to be burning all that the whole time, we really need to reduce the amount of carbohydrates that we eat. And again, fat does not affect our blood sugar, and fat is not going to make you fat, okay? Obviously, we're also talking about eating in like normal quantities of what a regular human being needs. You don't want to, over consume it, because calories are not the number one thing that you have to watch, but they are something that we want to consider as well. So yeah. So recap, you're probably experiencing hunger, Alice, because you are eating portions that are too small, and you're probably eating carbohydrate foods that are burning too quickly, okay? Even if it is in the form of salad and vegetables, they're not going to keep you satisfied for a long time, okay? So that's going to result in you experiencing more hunger later on in the day, because your body is going to need food, nutrients, and calories in order to be able to function properly, okay? So you want to balance that out by also increasing your fats, making sure that you have protein, and then also, in addition to that, your carbohydrates in the form of vegetables and maybe some low glycemic fruits, okay? So I hope that's helpful for you. I don't want you to be hungry. So Allison says, my body weight seems to be inconsistent. I lose a couple of pounds and then I gain it back quickly or more. So you try to follow the 3 meals a day, the 2 snacks routine, but you can't seem to lose a significant amount of weight, right? So again, as I said before, we all have our individual frustrations, but the way to address it is the same. So the losing the weight and then gaining it back again and a little bit more is very, very common for women that are trying to lose weight by cutting calories, reducing their portion sizes, and yeah, it's just, you know, you're gonna see results. You absolutely will. I'm not gonna deny that, but they're very short-lived, okay? And they are very short-lived because it's not sustainable. We can't function properly off of small meals that don't have the nutrients that we need and that don't have the nutrients that, or the macronutrients in this case, macronutrients being protein, carbs, and fats. If the foods that you're eating don't have balanced macronutrients, it's not going to work in your favor, okay? So we need to balance those macronutrients by eating enough quantities of each one of them in order to help regulate our blood sugar so that then we can also regulate our hormones, okay? So it starts, since you mentioned the 3 meals a day, I'm going to break those down for you, including the snacks. You want to start your day with a high fat and high protein breakfast, okay? The carbs at the start of the day, you want them to be really, really low because you want to start your day. First off, you want to have breakfast. Skipping breakfast is a no-no, because the number one thing that you want to do in order to help lose weight and keep it off is regulate your blood sugar, okay? And we regulate our blood sugar, the number one way, there's 2 ways, but the number one way that we regulate our blood sugar is through food, okay? And the one food that does not affect our blood sugar is fat. So we can eat fat and our blood sugar is gonna keep stable. And that's wonderful, okay? If you start your day off by let's say drinking a smoothie that's made only out of fruits and maybe a few greens in there, what your blood sugar is gonna do, it's gonna go like this, okay? It's gonna go way up. And then all the sugars from the fruit are gonna end up in your bloodstream, and then insulin's gonna come, and it's gonna take all that sugar, which is now glucose in your blood, and it's gonna give it to the muscle cells, and it's gonna give it to your liver. But we're sedentary as a culture, right? I mean, maybe some of you are athletes, and then that's a whole different story, because if you're moving all the time, you need those calories. But I'm assuming that most of you are not athletes. You lead a sedentary lifestyle like I do. I'm sitting here, this is what I do all day, almost every day. We don't need that many carbohydrates to function throughout the day, okay? So what happens is when your muscle cells have enough glucose in them already to function, they are not going to accept the glucose that insulin is bringing to them after you drink your smoothie in the morning, okay? So insulin is going to be knocking at our muscle cells' doors, and the muscle cells are going to say, I don't need more glucose, I have enough to function, thank you very much. So insulin has no option but to take that glucose. It says, okay, cool, I'll store it in case you need it later. So it's like your Tupperware at the back of the fridge, right? It's like you're not going to eat your food right now because you've had enough, you're full. Okay, cool, we'll just put it in a Tupperware. And that Tupperware is our fat cells, okay? So insulin, instead of being able to take that glucose, that sugar that you consumed through your carbohydrate-rich breakfast that tastes so delicious, glucose is going to take that sugar and just store it as fat, because assuming that you will need it later, okay? Because our metabolism still works the same way that it did millions or thousands of years ago when we were hunters and gatherers, and we needed our fat storages to survive the winters or to survive the times when we had no food. But guess what? Nowadays, we have food overstocked in our cupboards. We have food everywhere that we go, to the grocery store, even at the gas station, even at Starbucks. If you just want to get a coffee, you're waiting in line and you've got food screaming at you, wanting to be purchased because it all looks so yummy and so tempting, right? So we are, as a society, we are over consuming carbohydrates and we are not burning them. So it's all gonna go into our fat cells, and that's what is making us fat, is we are consuming too many carbs that are burning too quickly, and it's just making our blood sugar crazy, and that's making your metabolic hormones go crazy, and then we go into a cycle because eating carbs makes you crave carbs. Because remember how I said if you drink that fruit smoothie or even your granola or your oats or your toast in the morning, your blood sugar goes up, insulin comes, takes it away, stores it as fat, and because it went up so quickly and insulin comes really quickly to store it, now your blood sugar is also going to crash because everything has been stored. Okay? And what happens when your blood sugar is, this is normal, what happens when your blood sugar is really low? You get hangry, okay? We get mood swings, we have low energy, and we get hungry. That's when our brain is signaling to us, I have low blood sugar, this is an emergency, I need carbs right now, and I need them to be fast burning carbs. And that's when we reach for the cookie, that's when we reach for the muffin. Those are the cravings that we think are emotional, that we think we have no willpower to control. But the reality is, it's our hormones and it's our blood sugar that are making us crave those carbs. So it's not your willpower that is lacking, okay? And it's not because you're weak. It's simply because we have not been taught to eat the right foods for us. Fats have been demonized, when in reality, it's the abundance of carbohydrates, especially the processed carbohydrates that we've been eating for so long. So if you're eating 3 meals a day and you're eating 2 snacks a day, that's all good. Just make sure that those meals are not, the majority of them are not carbohydrates, okay? Your breakfast, you want it to be high fat, you want it to have protein, and you want it to have as few carbohydrates as possible. And if you do have carbs, make sure that they're low glycemic fruit. Berries are wonderful, okay? So add berries to whatever you're eating. Actually, I just launched breakfast recipes that are exactly what I give my clients to help set them up for faster fat loss. And I'm going to put the link below. So if you want them, just sign up for that and you get them for free. Okay. I think there's about 5 or 6 recipes in there. So you get them absolutely free. Just sign up below. You can get those. Okay. Your snacks is the same way. You want your snacks to be high fat. Okay. Because you want those snacks to stop whatever hunger you have, or if your blood sugar is going a little bit low, you want to eat a high fat snack so that you can feel full, you feel satisfied, and you don't affect your blood sugar, okay? My snacks, so I have like hummus that I use veggies for, and I just dip the veggies in the hummus, and that's wonderful. But fat bombs are another wonderful thing, okay? So you can make your own fat bombs, super easy to make. I think I've shared a recipe before, but anyway, I'll look to see if I can share another one of those. Or if you want a fat bomb recipe, let me know, comment below, and I can share that with you, okay? So I hope that that has been helpful to kind of let you know why, even if you're eating 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day, why is it that you're still hungry, or why is your weight still fluctuating? It's just because we've been given the wrong information, okay? So you can still eat your 3 meals a day and you can have your 2 snacks in between, but just make sure that your macronutrients are in the right balance, okay? Right, so there's the frustration from Sarah not keeping it off. So that's the same thing, is we've been given the wrong information, okay? So don't be afraid of high fat. It is the thing that's going to keep you satisfied, and it is the thing that's going to give you that long-term fat loss success, okay? Because we can't expect to deprive our body of nutrients, of calories, of everything that it needs to function, but we also can't expect our body to be okay with continuously eating foods that have no flavor and then expecting it to not crave something that's delicious once in a while, right? So if you're gonna keep eating like salads or vegetables that have no tasty dressings on them, or you're just gonna continue munching on rice cakes or some dry crackers, who really wants to do that long term, right? I can't do it. So don't think that my willpower is stronger than yours. It absolutely isn't. So we really need satisfying foods, delicious foods. And it might sound complicated, but it really, really isn't. Something like having eggs and 2 strips of bacon and avocado for breakfast is super, super simple. It's delicious, it's satisfying, and it absolutely helps you keep stable blood sugar, and it helps you avoid cravings in the afternoon too. Okay, so just as one example to let you see that it really doesn't have to be that complicated, okay? But by making those small changes, and I always say start at breakfast. If you don't try and like change your 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day, all from today to tomorrow. Just start by changing your breakfast, okay? And then you can see the difference that makes. And when you see that difference, it motivates you and it'll want you to continue making changes or continue with that habit, okay? So Casey mentioned emotional eating. And Casey, this is something like I mentioned at the start of the video, is we all think it is emotional eating, but a lot of times it is our emotions are aggravated because our blood sugar fluctuates, okay? So the first, even if it could be emotional eating, but again, if you start by balancing your blood sugar, you will see that your emotions actually also start to be more consistent, just the way that your blood sugar is. Okay, as I mentioned before, when our blood sugar is low, and this can happen, our blood sugar can be low if we don't have breakfast, for example, or if we have a high carb meal that gets our blood sugar all up. But once all that glucose is removed from our bloodstream, our blood sugar crashes, right? So if you've had a high carb meal, or even if you drink coffee on an empty stomach, that's going to make your blood sugar drop at some point too. And when we reach that level of low blood sugar, the first thing that we notice is that our emotions are just, you can get angry, you can get sad, you can get really tired. And so it is this kind of weird roller coaster that we always go through. And again, there could be other things that influence this, but our blood sugar is what's aggravating it. So there is no need for us to experience emotions in this roller coaster way that we do. Sorry, I'm like a broken record, but really focus on your blood sugar. Start by having a great breakfast that is high fat and high protein and low in carbs. And again, I'm sharing the recipes with you guys in the link below. And if Casey, if this is something, I'd actually love to know from you if you are somebody that has breakfast or not, or what you do have for breakfast, okay? And whatever it is that you do have for breakfast, why don't you just give something new a try and see how that affects your level of energy and your mood throughout the day? Because it is very, very common for women that have blood sugar imbalances to experience mood swings. Okay, and that comes out especially at the end of the day. That's when it becomes very, very apparent. And I am telling you this because I have been there and I have talked to many women that have the same issue. So again, you're not alone. Nobody here is alone. As you can see, we've all been there, and it's all very common. I'm going to just answer or address one more frustration. From Pam, you can't do this alone and you need support and meal plan ideas. Okay, so this is it. We're here to support you. Let us know what your frustrations are, or just, share where you're at in the comments. You guys can always post in the group whenever you want. Let us know if you're having a good day. Let us know if you're having a bad day. Let us know what you ate and what you loved and what you want all of us to eat too, okay? So we're here to support each other. That's why this is a community. It is private, so that the outside world can't see it. We're really kind of in this enclosed little cocoon that we can just interact with each other, support each other, and be there for each other, okay? And like I mentioned before, I've been where you have been. So don't think that that I come from this place where I have all the answers because I was born this way. No, I've learned from experience, and nutrition is just the thing that I love to nerd out on. I love to read about it. I love to learn about it. That's why I became a nutritionist, okay? And I became a nutritionist, and I'm doing this because I want to help all you ladies to get rid of your frustrations, because I know that you've been fed the wrong information for such a long time, and I think it's time that we change this. I think it's time that we all have access to the truth so that we can be more empowered and make smarter decisions for ourselves about what we eat, okay? So meal plan or meal ideas, I share recipes with you every Wednesday. And again, the breakfast recipes, I'm sharing them with you. The link is going to be below the video later on. And also, I am working on making a 2-week meal plan available at a very, very low cost so that you can try this high-fat, low-carb way of eating without having to spend too much, okay? So keep your eyes peeled for that within the next weeks. There's been a lot going on my end, but I'm making sure that I always have something new for you because I want to help you out, okay? So that's that. I think we've done about half an hour right now, although I see, yeah, let's do this. Let's cut it off here. I will be back on next week. I'm counting on Wednesday. I will let you know. And I do want to make this a regular thing because I see how much is needed and how many questions you have, and I want to address your frustrations because I want to help you move forward. Okay? So again, if you have more questions, if you have more frustrations, or even if you have a win, something positive to share, always feel free to post it in the group, add it to the thread below this video, anything that you want. You can even DM me, I guess that's a direct message, and I'm always happy to connect with you. All right. So for my Canadian friends, have a wonderful, wonderful long weekend. I am going to go MIA for the weekend. I'm going camping. So there's going to be, I guess, hardly any or no interaction from me at all. Feel free to ask any questions still, and I will get back to you as soon as I'm back from my trip. Okay. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.